Touchdown, Cowboys. Prescott keeps. Pylon. Touchdown.
Cousins back to pass. He's going for all of it. Down the right sideline, Jackson there's a 20. He's gone all the way. Jackpot Jackson. Touchdown, Redskins.
Somebody come help me. Okay. They give the ball to Elliott, and he bangs it left guard and through. Touchdown, Cowboys.
First off, Washington need to get their money back from Josh Norman. Now let's go. You're supposed to be a lockdown corner. You can't even play man-to-man.
Talked a lot. Let's get into it. I know your turkey didn't taste quite as good yesterday as Dallas improves to 10-1. My friend, how about them Cowboys?
You know, oh, damn. You know, look. Dak's all right, man. You know, he can really, really play. I mean...
Yeah. This is the only thing that made it bearable for me. This moment right here made my suffering a little better, thinking about this.
Look, I'm thinking about Dak Prescott, and listen, the numbers weren't that great in terms of 17, 2,495 yards, a touchdown, but watching him evade the rush, watching him audible at the line of scrimmage, watching him pick up blitzes, watching him scamper for one play after another using his wheels, you know, being big, being formidable. I got to give credit where credit is due. You know, listen, I got love for Dak and Ezekiel Elliott. I just can't stand the uniform that they're wearing because I hate their fans. But I got to admit that Dak's a bad boy, man. It's something that is just special about this brother. Having said all of that, let me say this. These Dallas Cowboys did give up 505 yards. I mean, the Redskins are only the fourth team in the NFL since 1940 to have 500-plus yards, not commit a single turnover, and still find a way to lose the game. Now, I can't even begin to tell you how disgusted I am at the Redskins this morning. Wasted 449 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, not a single interception by Kirk Cousins. Wasted shoulder injury where Jordan Reed is in a sling in the first half, still comes out in the second half. Balls catches that beautiful one-handed grab, okay, and that ultimately led to a touchdown. Wasted Deshaun Jackson's 67-yard touchdown catch, 118 receiving yards, etc., etc. This kid Kelly, the same dude who was chirping, who was talking about how the Cowboys are the Cowgirls, 37 yards rushing. See what I'm talking about? When you're a rookie, wet behind the ears, breath smelling like Similac, sitting up there running your mouth before you proving a damn thing, and then you go on national TV on a Thanksgiving holiday and you turn around and what do? You rush for 37 yards? Oh, shut up. Go someplace. This is unbelievable to me that the Redskins somehow, some way, found a way. These skins found a way to lose this game. And it really, they were behind the 8 ball in terms of, you know, being 2 touchdowns down, being on an uphill climb. Gruden with his arm, Mr. Boyd Genius himself, the onside kick. What was it? 9:22 left, 24-19, and you give the Dallas Cowboys a short field. And you know, what are you thinking about? You know, the 55-yard field goal attempt by Mr. Dustin Hopkins. This boy's been missing field goals, okay? What the hell would you try that for? I'm looking at Gruden. I'm looking at another little boy genius in Sean McVay who wants to sit up there and prove himself. Clearly, he's an aspiring head coach before his time is due, trying to act like he's innovative, but ultimately, he's a little bit too cute. As my man Jerry Brewer wrote in the Washington Post, my former colleague at the Philadelphia Inquirer, love him. He's a great writer. All the best to him. I'm just sitting there, Jerry Brewer. Look, all of this stuff, too cute, offense, you know, the coaching is sloppy. But at the end of the day, the Dallas Cowboys won the game. I can't take it away from them today. But I did see things with the Cowboys defense that makes me say, hey, I ain't dead yet. they can still be an accident waiting to happen, but not Dak and Zeke. I know that.
The Cowboys, here's the bad news. Not only are they 10-1, they're really, really good. And look, part of the thing about the Cowboys fans going crazy about this team early on is every fan base, when your team's on a winning streak, starts to overrate the team and beat their chest and start to think about all the things that might go right and paint the rosiest possible picture for the future. But every once in a while, that scenario is what plays out, and that's the story with the Dallas Cowboys right now. The only thing the civilized world can hope for, because in polite society, you don't root for the Dallas Cowboys. Come on. The only thing the civilized world can hope for is that the inability of that front four, really front seven, but front four, to get pressure on the quarterback will be their undoing as we go forward. But Dak Prescott from preseason game 1, you can see it. I said yesterday, he reminds me of Tom Brady. Tom Brady, when he started out, it was game manager, takes what the defense gives him, doesn't try to force anything, and there's something about him. Same with Dak Prescott. Even the way when the defense comes off the field, the kind of love he gives them. You can see if you played defense, you'd want to play defense on a Dak Prescott team. He has that kind of charisma in addition to everything else, which is very important at the position. Ezekiel Elliott, he's been amazing. I mean, his speed, his straightaway breakaway speed is ridiculous. The offensive line is amazing. And maybe Kelly, maybe that was part of their plan, a decoy, because Dallas is very good against the run, and they were good against the run again yesterday, but they couldn't get pressure on Kirk Cousins so he could throw and throw and throw. Was it a mistake, the onside kick? Of course it was. They should not have done that. And yet Dallas, once again, wins a game, in this case, not only in a rivalry game, but against a very hot team that by and large played very well. A couple of missed field goals, one bad onside kick call, fine. But Dallas outplayed them. They beat them. This team is for real, and it is scary because one of the worst things that can happen in sports is that the Dallas Cowboys challenge for a Super Bowl, and all we can do at this moment is hope that it doesn't happen, Stephen A. Smith.
Well, I have to concede that I expect them to challenge for a Super Bowl. Right now, I'm at a point where I think that the only two teams in a position to beat the Dallas Cowboys are the New England Patriots and the Seattle Seahawks. I look at the Dallas Cowboys right now. They're just on a roll. Everything is going right. It doesn't seem to be the accident way to happen. But I also would like to point out this, and I think it's time to call these people out. Dak Prescott was a fourth-round pick, the number 135th pick overall. I think it's time, Max Kellerman, to call out the teams that passed up on Dak Prescott and drafted a quarterback. 7 quarterbacks were drafted ahead of him.
Well, who did you just mention?
Debate Carson Wentz. Hold on, let me
You
finish.
just mentioned the teams. You just mentioned the teams that you think.
Yeah, I understand. But I'm just thinking Carson Wentz, we're not going to get on Philadelphia. Jared Goff, I think the Rams drafted him just because he was out there in Cali and they were moving to Los Angeles and they tried to be homers, okay? Something to talk about with Jeff Fisher and those boys. The Denver Broncos in the first round, Paxton Lynch, 26th overall, and the Jets, Christian Hackenberg, all right, at the number 51 overall, round number 2. The New England Patriots, Jacoby Brissett. He was picked before Dak Prescott, okay? Then you can't blame him because, again, Tom Brady ain't going nowhere. So, I mean, that's probably why you wouldn't have grabbed a Dak Prescott. But then you're the Cleveland Browns, Cody Kessler. You're
right,
the
but
Oakland
Stephen
Raiders,
A., think about the
Connor
teams. Hold
Cook.
on. We get it. Think about the teams that you said are the only other 2 teams you see as Super Bowl challengers or who might be able to stop the Cowboys. You said the Patriots and you said the Seahawks.
That's why I'm not.
And
that's
Tom
why
Brady.
That's why I'm letting them off the hook.
Well, no, I'm saying Tom Brady was drafted in the 7th round and Russell Wilson in the 3rd. So all 3 teams you think this year that are the legitimate challengers for the Super Bowl were picked way behind a ton of other quarterbacks. This is the way it works sometimes.
I don't know if you're Denver or you're the Cleveland Browns with Lynch or Cody Kessler that you should have made that move, though, but that's just me. But I hear you.
Stephen A., on the bright side, I've tasted your sister Carmen's cooking, so at least I know you ate well yesterday. So you have that going for you this morning. We move on.
Whatever, Molly. Whatever.
We move on to the matchup within the matchup. One of the storylines that dominated the game was Dez Bryant versus Josh Norman. In the trash talk, folks, it was at an all-time high. Dez, tell us about it.
Washington need to get their money back. The guy can't even go one-on-one. He bails and he holds. Never seen it before. Never just seen that out of a player.
I played him 3-4 times now, and those times, I don't even think he broke 30 yards or had any significance on any kind of game.
Do you feel like he saw the real Dez Bryant this time around?
Man, he got lucky, put it that way.
You're talking last year. When he was hurt.
He got lucky then. He got lucky this year, too. We could have roasted his ass.
This guy bumped into me like, what's up? Where I'm from, we unload the clip, so pretty much whatever you want to do. Not that guy that see a challenge from my face and back down. That's not me.
I honestly feel like the guy's extremely soft. I think he's just a bunch of talk. You know, if he was out and about, I wouldn't dare in my life let him talk to me like that.
Max, yesterday was a holiday. Lots of eyeballs on this game. Did they go too far?
No, this was awesome. I mean, this is what you love to see, that level of competitiveness. And really, I guess the spilling over, the tipping point where it really boiled over was when Norman's going to congratulate Dak and Dez gets in his face and all this. But it had been going on all game, and this is part of Josh Norman's value. Not the highest draft pick, not the most athletic guy at the position, not considered a shutdown corner, and yet, when he matches up with the other team's top receiver, or even when those two teams play, he manages to get under the guy's skin. Odell Beckham, as I said, last year, burnt him all over the field, like burnt Josh Norman. I don't care what Josh Norman says. We all saw the game. But Beckham started dropping passes. Beckham doesn't drop passes. Why did that happen? Once again, Dez Bryant's team wins the game. And Dez talking about, I'm going to show you all the times that Josh Norman got burnt and this and that. But the bottom line is, it's Dez who seems to be catching feelings behind what happened. Josh Norman is not only an excellent player, he has this ability. He's like a souped-up Cortland Finnegan in this respect. He has this ability to get under the wideout skin, the star wideout skin, to take him out of his game, to make him something usually less than he is. And you got to give it to Norman because that comes from his pure competitiveness. And it's one of the reasons, as much as I dislike the Washington franchise as a Giants fan, that he's one of my favorite players to watch. Not the most talented, but maybe the most competitive.
Max Kellerman, I don't disagree with what you're saying, but forgive me if I veer left a little bit and bring up something else. And I'm quite sure, I don't think you missed it or anything like that. My perspective is just different than yours. And I'm quite sure with your level of sensitivity, you'll appreciate where I'm about to go. There's a quote in here where Josh Norman is accusing Dez Bryant of telling him after the game, where I'm from, we unload the clip. Now, let me tell you something. As a black man in America, particularly seeing what has transpired in the streets of Chicago over the last several years, where we're talking about murder after murder after murder that has been taking place and bodies falling by the wayside and lives being lost. And we're talking in an age about police brutality, and we've got folks like Colin Kaepernick, before he revealed what a hypocrite he was because of his unwillingness to vote and to exercise and activate himself in the last election, or any election for that matter, because we've learned that he's never registered to vote according to himself. I mean, the fact of the matter is we've got some real serious issues as it pertains to violence in America, and in particular in the black community. And so when you've got two brothers who are unquestionably elite, I know both of them, at least a little bit. I consider them both to be really good brothers that I'm incredibly proud of, the things that they've accomplished in their professional careers and beyond. This is not the kind of language we need to be hearing from them. You can't sit up there being elite as you are, being the winners that you are, thinking about your futures and the kind of impact that you're trying to have, not just on the football field, but extending beyond that. And then literally go in front of the media and start echoing stuff like this. Now, I don't know whether it's true or not, because to Dez Bryant's credit, he categorically denied that he had said what Josh Norman said he said. But if he is wrong, if he's lying, if he did say that, it's wrong, and we need to make sure it's clear. He don't need to be saying that to anybody.
I'm glad you brought that up, Stephen A.
And if you're Josh Norman, you damn sure don't need to be going to the media and telling the media that he said those words to you, because it's not just about you at that particular moment in time. It carries far, far, far more weight, and it contributes to the stereotypes that are attached to young black men and what they're willing to resort to in the event that there's some kind of disagreement where, by and large, we are law-abiding citizens that don't need to go that route. So I just think it's important that we make sure I got nothing but love and respect for both of them, Dez and Josh. But something like this, first of all, should never be said. And number two, and more, and just as important, if it was said between you two, that's not something you need to be going to the media.
That's where I disagree.
And telling everybody.
I think you're raising a very good point, because that's what jumped out at me too, that comment. I disagree that Norman shouldn't say it if Dez said it to him. If he's making it up, obviously that's bad. But if Dez actually said that, what Norman is, I mean, that's the indicator. Dez plays himself when he says that. What he's saying is, the feelings he has are so serious. Josh Norman was able to affect him like that emotionally, that he says something like that to him. He has to take it to that place, because that's how much Josh Norman got a hold of his brain in that situation. No. And Josh Norman reporting what Dez Bryant said, Dez didn't have to say it. He said it. Josh said, this is what this dude told me. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with Norman reporting that.
There's nothing wrong with it if it's just about you two, but when you say it to the media, you're disseminating that kind of message to the masses, and then all of a sudden, we're not just thinking about the two individuals, we're thinking about a community and the stereotypes that we have to fight against and battle against every single day.
That's
not
fair.
to mention, Max, that also Josh Norman stepped up and said at the end of it is that, hey, if that's the way it's going to be, that's the way it's going to be. We could end the clip we could end it out on the field all day, every day. I'm just saying that you got to think about it beyond that. Listen, they're both good brothers, and I understand that we are sitting up here talking about it, and it can be viewed as being taken out of context. But it's important that they understand that the reason that I brought it up, the reason that I'm mentioning it, is because I happen to know that there are a bunch of people out there who don't look like us, don't share our culture, that are going to take it the way that I fear they're going to take it, and that's what I think the players need to watch out for.
Fair enough. Let's leave it there.